Hey, Fred. Nichmaitski.
Hey, chawit na shlaken.
I'm glad you didn't forget. Mishnamwa Alaipa.
Ata chuishpa nishwaaksha shkishpa. Staying cool in the shade.
Nice. Yeah, stay under that palm tree.
Hey, hey, mishpamwao. Mishnamwajin, nich namwachikuk.
Ni nashwa.
Nich yikt. So what's news in your area?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Just people kind of just lots of people suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're where again?
Well, I'm in Seattle, but you know, my buddy's in the hospital in Wenatchee, so I've been thinking a lot about him. My friend Randy. So I've been reaching out, asking people to watch over him and pray for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of harsh. We've been friends 50 years.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I know had a brother, had the same name, Fred. He passed this past year, and yeah, I look for them. You know, we look for them when, you know, like especially when they come over to the casino, and then I look for him, and he goes, "Up darn it, you know, it's not there." Yeah, definitely will be thinking of you.
Thank you. And him and all his family. I mean, he's been my teacher. He taught me so much. You know, he's my real teacher. And you are my real teacher.
Kúmiš. Hey.
What's Kúmiš mean?
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Huh?
Yeah, Kúmiš.
Bigger than that, isn't it?
Mish.
Can you use it for more things than just okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you tell me we could use it like when someone says xaslu, like in place of the English, you're welcome? Kúmiš.
Well, you know, growing up as a kid, I was always bothering my grandmother for a dime. And I didn't call her by her Indian name. We had her own name for her. And so I was always just bugging her. Kúmiš 10 cents. Kúmiš 10 cents. And she'd just look at me, 10 cents, 10 cents. You know, she didn't know what I was talking about. But over the years, you know, just listening to Kúmiš, you know, different ways, however you express it, like Kúmiš, okay. You know, so it has that connotation to it. Or if you use a Kúmiš, like if you agree to something, Kúmiš. Yeah. Mishnah, Candace, how are you doing over there in Lapway?
Hot.
Lapway, hot, yeah. Yeah. Aku mish iwa pchah ku natutas. How's your mom and dad? Or would it be your grandparents? Would they be your grandparents?
Are you talking about Lee or
yeah, Lee, or who is your grandparents?
Lee and Ramona White Plume.
Yeah, okay. How are they?
They're good. After class, I'm gonna go help my grandpa. And then my xaslú's been just cooking and cleaning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, good to know everybody's well over there, as can be, huh? Leslie, could you mishpamwa kuna nispilam pa?
Did you hear him? He said Níix nashwa.
Oh, yeah. That dots. Yeah, every time we log in and we see you, you're always eating.
Yeah.
Wako kia psix. How do you say that? Wako ki. I just heard it wako kia psich, and then I hear it sometimes. Some say wako kia hip psich.
Yeah, now we're eating.
Oh, okay.
We try to get our lunch at 10 before your class, but we usually end up eating through your class. And then right after your class is Judge Slickpoo's class. Then right after that class, we have a high school class. So
Yeah.
this is our chance to chow down.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll let you eat while we'll see what we can talk about today. Mishnah Annie.
Níix nashwa.
Mishnah Misha Chikuk.
Kut shash.
Oh, Kna lumped pit chanupa. Skulit pamapa, Kna lumped pit chanupa. Yeah, Blue Mountains. Níix nam kiİ'ísša. Kiİs is when you smile. Níix nam kiİ'ísša. Kúmiš. Mishnah we walatit. Mishnah.
Níix nashwa. Mishnah.
Inchi nashwa níix. Níix nasha. Nasuksha. Chi'iwinisha xaslú yukaasínsma kúpi. Xaslú yukaasínsma kúpi. Starbucks coffee. I had to put the word together, Starbucks. So I guess it would be more than $1. So it'd be xaslú yukaasínsma. Go ahead, Jonathan. Bring our board up, please. Timat pama.
Kúmiš.
It's been quite a challenge, and Jonathan Geary is able to, attest to, working with our high school students at the kiʻi Community School, especially the freshmen. And it's just always that particular bunch that seem to, just kind of want to goof off. And we've seen them through the years. They just remind me of like little colts that like to run around and, or calves or, pups, in other words, they run around and, play. It's all basically, it's like life at that point in their life is basically about playing around. Shit, just want to play all day. Kúmiš or iʻau. There's a question up here. What's the difference between Kúmiš and iʻau? So Kúmiš, you know, in its own sense, as I was saying, like a way of saying, okay, or you agree to something, you know, Kúmiš, then kiİ'ísša, in its own way of something that's mentioned, like yeah now, or and you know, like instead of saying goodbye, it's you know, like just one way of, like, you know, just saying it that way, like, not that it has a connotation of like later, you know, but it's just something that we just I guess innately learned. kiİ'ísša, Kúmiš, you know, so you could use them together that way, even like, yeah, okay, all right. So it's just it's really hard to differentiate like how those would work. So in comparison, Leslie and Dewey, with those two words, what would be maybe the similarities in Nez Perce way of saying Kúmiš or kiİ'ísša, like whatever?
Yeah, that would almost be
Uh-huh.
for both of them.
Then so what would your guys' comparative word be for Kúmiš?
The could also be goodbye. People sometimes say that instead of
Greeting or leaving.
greeting, leaving, and yes. Kúmiš. I've heard Thomas Gregory out of Lapway say, oh, dang it, what is it now? I'm spacing it. Atemut, I want to say, Atemut, for like all right. Is it Atemut or? He's the only one I hear say it though. All right or okay. It's not one that I learned, but Atemut.
Yeah, I think that could cover okay, all right, or it means like yes, or kind of like I agree, or even hello.
Yeah. Yeah, as again, when we use kiİ'ísša, you know, like kiİ'ísša, you know, I would just remember, I'm just following up with, you know, just how, you know, how the Cutlers used to say it that way, or the elder men, you know, they would just conclude with that, you know, they're like their final, you know, words or whatever, their visit. And of course, you know, a lot of times in our Indian way, that's a lot of tribes, you know, we have that kind of a saying or belief that we don't have a word for goodbye, you know, so we just, you know, say words like that. Inutámataš, or, you know, I'll see you again later, you know. So that's how sometimes that is.
Did I get that right, Fred? anaš inutámataš. I'll see you again later.
Yeah. Mun. I'll see you whenever. I'll see you again whenever. Like mun, later on sometime is what that would kind of imply too. Later on, mun. In case you guys see me, my hand going like that, there's one fly in here think he was here in last class. He's still bothering me. I haven't got him yet. We'll see you at the casino. Mishiman mashwa ášapnit tun anash yukaasínsma. Mishiman mashwa ášapnit mishtun nam xúkʷayat. Pretty good, Jonathan. Does there anybody have anything to ask? Anything that you would like to know? Renee, Mishnamwa.
Sorry, my brain's not working today. I think you said, hi, how's it going? Or how you doing? And I can't remember. So,
Yeah.
well.
How you doing?
Yeah, I realized that with the class in the school, it's not the same. And I really need to hear you talk more and learn about the things that I heard when I was up there, which is more like this class. So this is really good. You know, it helps the other class, each one, you know what I mean? They go together kind of.
Hey. Mhm.
I was going to ask you, I looked it up in the dictionary. Do you know how to say, well, you know how to say, how do you say magpie? I couldn't figure it out.
Magpie?
Yeah, like those birds, you know.
Yeah, it has the, you know, like the letter A for us is that sound, and then we go right into that ejective hatchek C, and then that AY sound. So it's basically that 2 syllables. And so you're saying achai.
Achai.
Achai. Yeah. Not achai. It has a little more pronounced with that ejective hatchek C. And this is the only letter that we have that way. There's no ejective like a hatchek S, or, you know, a little harder sound. But this sound, we have the hatchek C, all right, for the like CH sound. But then we got sounds like this, achai. And here, when I lived down in Goldendale with, you know, my in-laws down there, Janice and her family, and here the elders, some of them, they referred to the Hispanics as Yakima, because the way that when they talk, and when they'd all be talking at once, they sounded like, you know, like a flock of magpies or something. And here, the kids learned that word. And then here one time one of the kids says, Achai doesn't mean Mexicans, it means magpie. No, it doesn't, it means Mexican. So they were going back and forth, you know, and you know, we had to clarify to them, because no, that was just our elders' reference to them, how they felt like they sounded, you know, like when you hear magpies all you know, cackling. And I was, yeah, but that's how you would say the magpie, achai.
Thank you. It came up in conversation. I looked it up in the dictionary. Nobody could figure out what it was. So are all the birds, like, do they all like have words that like sound like the way they sound? Like a crow. I know I've heard that one, obviously, but I don't know.
Well, Chuchuch, see, chuchuch is what, a raven? Chuchuch, raven. What's another bird? What is that one, Jonathan? Tash tash. Jonathan's our bird man.
How do you say duck? I can't say that. How do you say that?
That's a 2-syllable word, and that X sound is when you got that that dot underneath it. It's a deeper X sound. Chat chat. Chat chat chat. Chat chat.
I'm just trying to figure out the duck right now. So just hot hot. It's hard to hot hot. Okay.
Yeah, chat chat.
Are there any books for like little kids that have these kind of words in them?
I don't know if we've ever created. I'm sure we probably had, but I don't know where they would be.
Okay.
The one that teaches the one that teaches the kids is Mildred. And you'd probably kind of have to maybe just just write the words like on an index card, and then
draw a picture.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But again, like a lot of the bird names, as far as I know, they're pretty much like these are all 2-syllable words for them, like achai, ho, chat, tash, tash. What's another bird?
Do you have one for doves?
Dove.
Yeah, I have them in my backyard now.
Jonathan's our bird man. What is the word for dove, Jonathan? I don't have my dictionary handy here.
Looked it up the other day. I think there's a couple names in here for mourning dove. Mim, Kuʻíisša.
Yeah, mim, wheataloo. Mim, wheataloo. Or wheataloo. I don't think there's a ejective T, I don't think, right? Mim, wheataloo. Okay, yeah.
Do you think this one is an onomatopoeia as well? Ich.
What about it?
Well, I was just wondering if you think this might be onomatopoeia too, if this is the sound the bird's making. Because it seems like a lot of these ones where, it's doubled, they tend to be the sound of the bird, or the sound of something else like tuch.
I think because we were under a bridge one time and there was a whole bunch of them flying around, and one of the kids got pooped on right on the head. So I think it's when the sounds of the poop. I don't know.
How about the swan from White Swan? The town White Swan? Do they have a bird name?
White Swan?
Yeah, like that town.
Well, actually, White Swan was named after a particular man. I believe. But pretty sure that Wapansla, I think that's the name, isn't it, Jonathan?
Something like the Fisher, because there's a swan that has that name. Wapansla. Or the Traveler. I think it's Trumpeter Swan.
Trumpeter Swan? Yeah. Got us looking at our dictionary now.
Now that has different Trumpeter Swan.
Oh,
I'm certain that is a name for a type of swan.
Luke. is swan. Waukiluke. And seem like
So it's got Wapan Fla is a name for grizzly bear.
yeah, I got the wrong animal, a bird. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure though there is a bird that has a name like that.
But the swan is Waukiluke. So if it was probably to call it a white swan, it'd be kiİ'íisša Waukiluke. Kiİ'íisša Waukiluke.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's a lot of words. I have to memorize. Kúmi.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that we have Jonathan with us, since he's a bird watcher. So if you got any of you have bird questions, just talk to Jonathan. He'll answer your bird questions.
What about if you say more than one bird, like not just swallow, but swallows? I mean, how do you make that plural? All those words. More than one swan, more than one swallow.
This, I think there's, it's like how we would say, like referring even to them as people, like more than one. So waukiluke. And same with like the word for grizzly bear, grizzly bears, then it would be wapan slum.
So the MA, so the MA makes it plural at the end?
E.
Quatla.
And then any of these, if any of these birds or animals, if they were ever used in legendary form of telling coyote stories, then they would become yai. Like, you know, just like spilia is, you know, for, you know, just a coyote, spilia. And then when we say spiliai, and then it becomes the legendary form. And then the rest of the animals that are in those stories and legends. Mm-hmm.
Fred, I think I found the bird we might have been thinking of that ends in sla. Wishana sla, have you heard that is a name for a type of goose?
Oh, okay, maybe that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, the snow goose was shanafla.
It was something.
So when we say kakiama, you know, it also has an implication of talking about all the birds and the animals, kakiama. And I believe it could even imply probably even maybe the insects, you know, those type of, but you know, birds in general, kakia. In one of our songs, there actually are songs where the term likuk is used, and also kakia, you know, where a bird had, you know, given a message, and sometimes that song gets sung at the end of, you know, during funeral wakes. You'll hear that word in there, you know, kakia. I think there are several songs that actually have that that word in it. And some of them I don't quite know, but I'm, still learning, because they're, a big part of our lives. And then, my mother-in-law used to talk about, how na kamun liku ki sinwia ni kushi kamnanachen ku itai munna, like how the rooster chicken had informed and like spoke and informed. And so it's a pretty deep message within, one of the songs that gets sung at the Topnish Longhouse, and real deep song. Yeah. So kakiama, birds, animals. Yeah. Okay. So that's good, Renee, that you got us on a little tangent there to be able to bring up some bird names. This is always, like I said, I always try to leave it open to what you guys are, willing to learn. So again, I'll see if anybody else has any more questions that they'd like to ask. We walatit mishmishwatun ášapnit.
What does Yakama mean?
Yaka.
So it's like bear.
Yaka. There's some there's a lot of debate reference in that from the early linguists like Bruce Rigsby, I believe, and some of them that had talked about it, whether if there was what if it was Yakima, or Yakama, and the Yaka, would, and because I heard an elder, he was a real awesome artist. His name was Larry George, and there was a language kind of a symposium at the Winter Lodge here at the Cultural Center at Kúmiš, and we got in on that. Janice and I and her uncle Victor, we sat in on that, and it was really a quite an opportunity to be around, the ones that were fluent. There was a bunch of them there, and Larry, he kind of mentioned that, just kind of brought that point up, that sometimes you wouldn't think of it that way, but here he's, Yakama, the black bear people, just kind of just said it like, wow, I never thought about it like that, and it was his reference. And because even in some, because of the bands of the Yakama, not some don't claim to be Yakama, because I'm not Yakama, I'm Klickitat, or I'm not Yakama, I'm Wanapum. But you still get a per capita. But the dialects, though, some of them, because of Palouse being part of the dialect there too, or part of the bands, I think they're listed under there. Okay, so there's a story that will be sent from that, so that Julie just posted in the yeah. Okay.
If anybody has a copy, the Yakima dictionary does have a pretty long section on different possible origins of the name Yakima. Julie, do you know, is that the one that it might mean the pregnant ones? Or do you know what yak would mean?
Yeah, it's talking about being pregnant. There's an old story that there was a family that lived out by Moxie, and this man and wife had 2 daughters, and they had a slave. So the parents left. They went to go somewhere, and then they came back, and both of their daughters got pregnant by that slave. And that when the parents found out, they kind of got upset about it, so they moved from Moxie over to by Union Gap on the east side of Union Gap. And that when there was people traveling north through Union Gap on the west side, and they asked, "Oh, who are those people?" He said, "Oh, Yakama." That's the story that I found, and I also heard that story before I even came across that in written form. So I try to ask people down here, they try to say the same thing about a bear, but I said, well, if your guys' emblem or whatever was like a bear, it seemed like it'd be on your letterheads and your flags, and I don't know, they don't. There's some that do know about that story down there, but that's the story I've seen on it.
Yeah. I used to sit with Lonnie Salam, and I think one time he made that reference too, but he wasn't sure if the term was Yakima, Yakima, had that because of kiʻi being, but because one dialect part is probably like kiʻi, kiʻi, for being pregnant. But so that must have been one of the other dialects of like how that was said that way. Yakima. So that's interesting. Yeah. So some would maybe claim, just Yakama, and same time we're hearing that, what Dewey had learned and heard. I shukwanam. Eh. Oh, okay. Good stuff, huh? Just like how we're always talking about the umatalama. Like yesterday I was sharing with the students, our body, just start out with it was funny because I drew a bald head, and then I was going to put braids and hair on it, but I just left it as bald for the longest time. And then here I started talking about Clooney. Clooney was a man down in the Dalles, Oregon, used to buy all the Indian stuff and sell Indian things there. And I think that place is still up. It's an old rock house. But when we'd be going on the way to huckleberry picking, we'd stop in there, and my grandmother would have a bunch of yarn belts. My aunt would be with us, and she'd have a bunch of moccasins, and and they'd barter. Their things, and of course I'd be looking at all his Canon record albums or Indian records albums, and maybe have enough for one album or whatever, but it was really something that everybody would go there. I don't think there's any Indian store in Dalles now, though. Yeah, that was Clooney. And so I just started naming off all the our I said, gee, this all of our parts of our head, hair, our forehead, our ears, our nose, our eyes, and even the pupil of our eyes, and our face, our chin, our eyelashes, eyebrows, the back of our neck, or our throat, and all that list, pretty extensive. Of course, even our hand, just our hand and our arm and our leg and our feet, and pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. So while I got you guys on here, Dewey, we're gonna kind of wait till Saturday, at the latest, to see if we're gonna go forward with our 1-day activity over in Wallowa. So we'll see, being that it's an outdoor event, you know, we'll just tell everybody, stay away from each other, but come over, but stay away from each other.
All right, yeah. We're actually supposed to hold a service down there, I think the 23rd, that weekend.
Yeah.
Soy is gonna be doing it. So.
Oh.
But I don't know, I don't think he's heard about the outbreak down that way or anything, so.
Well, I'll keep you guys posted with the Tumkalix girls.
Okay.
Because I got to be in California, supposedly, if things are okay. I got to travel to Susanville.
Oh.
Yeah. But you think about 8th or 9th year that I've been emceeing their powwow down there.
Mm.
It's because I got the gift of gab.
You like the Magpie?
Yeah. Chawit kushkin tanashwa achai. I'm like the Magpie too.
Achai, sila.
You better have a lot of things to give me that name, though. Yeah, Kúmiš, Annie mishmashatun ášapnit.
Manina awanha, take care or be safe.
The word for to take care is naknui. Naknui. Pinanaknuit is, you know, self-care, you know, take care of yourself, you know, pinanaknuit. Pamao naknuitsta, you know, everyone should take care. Pamao naknuitsta, or pamao naknuit. Yeah, for everyone to take care. Yeah, but the base word of it is naknui. And again, you know, we hear that word too, you know, in one of our songs, naknui. I never used to know that word. You know, it's been, you know, like, you know, over the years of learning language, you know, learn that word, naknuit. So I think that would probably imply maybe also napayuni would you know, like to reference, maybe even be protected. Napayuni. I think the stress is on the first A, Jonathan. Napayuni. Phone was buzzing and then I didn't want to answer to sit on there. Potential spam and making me hungry. Hey, does that help you there, Annie? Kúmiš?
Kúmiš.
Hey,
Hey, Fred, what if you wanted to tell someone to take care of themselves, like to command them?
Naknuit túnnam. Or naknuit or naknuit túnnam or naknuit tapam. These variations of you know, how you would say naknuit, you take care. Naknuit tapam, and then when you're saying, you know, for someone to maybe to take care of naknuit túnnam, take care of them, so to speak, I guess. Naknuit tapam, naknuit túnnam, naknuit tapam. Yeah, that's it's something how an akushnam anashinam naknuisha, you know, whoever that you're taking care of, and akushki in me ayat and nikupin in naknuisha mean kaslama. You know, like my wife, she's taking care of, you know, her grandchildren. Who blew their nose? Sorry, that you, Jonathan.
I have a question, and I can't remember the word, but I talked to Tessie, an elder, on the phone almost 6 months ago. And when we were getting off to say goodbye, she used a word in Indian. And I was like, what is she saying to me? So finally I asked Nan, I can't remember the word, what that word meant. And she said, well, that means I love you. So people say I love you when you get off the phone. I mean, is that a thing that people do?
Oh, it's you know, it's become quite common, you know, xaslú. Is that what you heard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
xaslú.
should I say that back to her?
Yeah, you can tell her that back.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, that word, I when I learned that word, I told my grandmother that, and by then she had a you know, a stroke, and she wasn't able to respond anymore. But when I told her that, you know, she reacted, and I was glad I was able to tell her that, you know, before, you know, she passed. And I was glad I learned that word. Xaslu. Yeah. And my granddaughter, our granddaughter, when I'll tell her, you know, because we're teaching her Indian language, and I'll tell her, xaslu, yamash. xaslu, yamash. So now she says it back. I love you, dear, is the different way of saying dear. Yeah. So you could tell her that. Xaslu, yamash.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So when you tell somebody that they are very dear to you, though, you know, when you're speaking of the ones that are dear to you, túnnam, you know, túnnam. Or when you would tell maybe, you know, your family or, you know, group of people, then you would put ataw pamwa. There's all these different ways that that word, you know, can also get used too. And, you know, but these are, you know, the word ataw is, you know, when you value or when you love, you know, people or maybe things even. And túnnam, you know, what is it that, you know, that you value, or what is that you like? In other words, túnnam. Vice Chair Qual Antanish subsequent shamatash kush anta saat pines wa subsequent nishawi skuli slama iti tamaslama putum kuinap tipa chiao saat pine anta niskwasanawa shamasha kupum paishin kicks chiao subsequent chiao pinapskwipa naku imaichi nashwaan Kúmiš pam wata naknui imaichi pam wata napayuni kushki wapashani nami ani aslan mi haula kapapki. So again, just this is as far as that I'll go with you today, and then because I got my students to teach at little afternoon, and I just pray for you guys. You know, just think of you guys to also be safe and taken care of. And then when I say wapashani halak apapki nami aniaslan mikni, you know that the Creator's holy hand be upon you. You know that you be watched over. You know, and as Jean had said, you know, for her friend, and so we, you know, think of all of our people this way because we're in this pandemic together, and you know, we've had. Just last night we had, I believe, an incident here, and so we're, you know, concerned about, you know, a lot of our young people, you know, that are dealing with, you know, crisis. So stay safe, everybody. Ášapnit. Kúmiš.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuídate.
Huh?
I said in Spanish, cuídale, which take care. Cuídale.
Okay. Cuídale. Okay.
Spanish teacher, remember? Adios. Ciao.
Cuídale. Yeah.